Time to talk business thanks to our partners 2 Degrees. The EU and US have struck a trade deal with a 15% across the board tariff rate, includes cars and other products. Let's talk about how this will affect the world, but also about some power companies back home. Garth, Bray, BusinessDesk joining us. Good morning.
Good morning, Ryan.
So they've got a deal.
They've got a deal. I mean, we didn't think that Donald Trump just went to Scotland to whinge about his windmills next to the golf course, did he? Yeah, in Scotland, met with Ursula von der Leyen, the head of the EU, shook hands on a deal that basically sees 15% across the borders. You meant it was going to be 30, so It is a cut. It means that US importers will be, US imports will be out of the EU for cars and that kind of stuff will continue, although Germany's probably going to take a hit on this. They're a big supplier of steel and other industrial products to the US. And I guess there's also some stuff in there, like we saw in the Japan deal with increased investment. They're talking about an extra $1 trillion New Zealand dollars worth of investment in the US economy. No time frame for that. They're also talking about $1.2 trillion worth of energy purchases. I guess this is going to be gas. And that's interesting from a geopolitics point of view because the EU buys a lot of its energy, gas and stuff from Russia. Yeah. And if it's having to switch to the US, does that mean that they're going to be pulling some of that and that's going to starve Russia of funds at a time when it's obviously the war in Ukraine is rolling on? Well,
their goal is to reduce their reliance on Russian gas. So presumably this would help fill some of that void, as you say. Now, China next, and at some point we will have details of an actual deal with China, do we think?
We'll get a deal from the US, right? Okay, so the US and China are meeting in Stockholm. I think Besant's heading off to Stockholm to meet with the Chinese to try and strike their trade deal. And at some point we'll get our letter about US tariffs, but you've got to wonder whether this 15% tariff that they've struck is now looking more and more like the floor for deals. We were on track for a 10. So what does that mean? I guess it might be squeaky bum time at MFAT.
Yeah, hopefully not. Hopefully not. Let's talk power now. Genesis Energy has issued an ultimatum.
Yeah, right. So this is an investigation, I suppose, that the BusinessDesk team have been looking at. I went down to Huntly last week and had a chat to the head of Genesis Energy, Malcolm Johns. Be interested if we can run a wee bit of that now because it was a great look behind the scenes. Here's what he had to say.
We're really comfortable whether Huntly shrinks to what we need it to be for our portfolio and our customers for the next 25 years, or whether it plays a wider role in the system. Ultimately, that's up to the market participants and the regulators.
So interesting to see how it works. That massive pile of coal that you saw there is about 600,000 or 700,000 tonnes of coal. That was basically a car park last year. And this is as a result of renewables not quite being capable of supplying all the energy that we need right now consistently. So Huntly is like your backup generator. Genesis is saying, hey, we're not prepared to be your backup. The rest of the market has to pitch in and purchase firming contracts with us so that we can buy this coal in advance. No coal, no firming contracts. Well, we won't keep capacity running at Huntly at the levels that it's been at. We'll wind things back down to the level where it can just supply the 500,000 customers it's got. It seems crazy in this environment where we've got people complaining about the price of power and so on, that a major gentailer will be talking about less generation. And the backdrop to this is obviously the discussion that's going on at government level about whether they change the market in some kind of way. So take a look at that on NZ Herald if you want to look.
Brilliant. Thank you, Garth. And lots to look forward to this week. We've got EU GDP, we've got Apple, Amazon, Boeing, you name it.
Yeah, so much. And of course, a Fed rate cut or not cut kind of a conversation happening. Yeah. Brilliant.
Look forward to more news this morning and throughout the week. That's Garth Bray, BusinessDesk. We talk business every day with our partners 2 Degrees.